Daf Yomi, Tractate Avodah Zarah, page 27a, top of the page, with the words Birofe Mumche. We are dealing with an expert physician. Dichi asar Rav Dimi amar Rav Yochanan, im haya mumche l'rabim mutar. We're dealing with an expert physician who will not risk his reputation by harming a child. We were talking about different scenarios of allowing a Jew allowing a Gentile to circumcise them or deliver the baby based on that historical context at the time. I'm not sure if it applies to today or not, but in any case, that's what we're talking about. And so it was said here that as an expert physician, he won't risk his reputation by harming a child. This is similar to that which Rabbi Yochanan said, as when Rav Dimi came from Eretz Israel to Babylonia, he said, Rabbi Yochanan says, if the physician was considered a recognized expert, it is permitted for one to be healed by him. When Rabbi Meir said that an Aramean may circumcise a Jewish boy, he was referring specifically to a doctor who is known for his expertise. Okay? V'savar Rabbi Yehuda kuti shabir dami Yatan Yisrael males akusi v'kusi lo males Yisrael mipnei shema l'shem ha'grizim. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. The latter clause of the Braita states that Rabbi Yehuda maintains that a Samaritan may circumcise a Jewish infant. The Gemara asks, and does Rabbi Yehuda actually hold that it is permitted for a Samaritan to perform circumcision? But isn't it taught in a Braita, a Jew may circumcise a Samaritan, but a Samaritan may not be allowed to circumcise a Jew because he circumcises him for the sake of Mount Gerizim? This is the statement of Rabbi Yehuda. Amar lo Rabbi Yossi, ki echad matzinu mila ben hatoyer lishmo, elamad v'hoylech ad shetetze nishmaso. Rabbi Yossi said to him, and where do we find the mitzvah of circumcision from the Torah must be performed for the sake of fulfilling God's will? Rather, a Samaritan may continue to circumcise Jews until his soul leaves his body. It's very curious or bizarre expression. He's saying that a Samaritan can continue to circumcise Jews until his soul leaves his body, meaning until the Samaritan dies, and there is no room for concern. Rabbi Yehuda explicitly states above that circumcision may not be performed by a Samaritan. I wonder why they use that strange expression. Okay. Ela le'olam efoch ki de'avchina mikore v'degagah shel Yehuda hi Yehuda nasi. Rather, actually, you should reverse the opinions in the Braita as we reversed them initially, and as for the difficulty raised with regard to one statement of Rabbi Yehuda against the other statement of Rabbi Yehuda, that opinion that a Gentile may not perform a circumcision is actually the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi. Conversely, the first Braita, which is reversed, and therefore cites Rabbi Yehuda as maintaining that an Aramean may perform circumcision, is referring to Rabbi Yehuda Bar Eli. Accordingly, the different opinions reflect a dispute between Tanaim rather than a contradiction. D'Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Omer, Minayin Mila Begoy Shehi Pesulo, Talmud Omar, V'ata et Briti Tishmo. The Gemara cites to prove that according to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, a Gentile is not qualified to perform circumcision, as it is taught in a Braita that Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi says, from where is it derived with regard to circumcision? performed by a Gentile, that it is not valid. The verse states, and God said to Abraham, and as for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your seed after you throughout their generations. Genesis 17:9. Amar Rav Chizda, by time of Rabbi Yehuda, dichtiv, Hashem himol, Rabbi Yossi himol imoho. Right, himol. It was stated that, according to the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, circumcision must be performed for the sake of fulfilling a mitzvah, whereas Rabbi Yossi holds that no particular intention is necessary. The Gemara analyzes these opinions. Rav Chizda said, what is the reasoning of Rabbi Yehuda? As it is written, and when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised. Exodus 12:48. It can be inferred from the verse that the males must be circumcised to the Lord, meaning for the sake of fulfilling God's will. The Gemara asks, and what is the reasoning of Rabbi Yossi? It is written, he must be circumcised. Genesis 17:13. Yeah, 17:13. Okay. The usage of the doubled verb teaches that the circumcision may be performed by anyone. V'idach haketiv la'Hashem himol ahu b'Pesach ketiv v'idach lam yaktiv himol imo dibra Torah kilashon b'nei adam dibra Torah kilashon b'nei adam dai 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 ya 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 Dibra Torah kilashon b'nei adam. The Torah speaks. Okay, the Gemara asks, and according to the other sage, Rabbi Yossi, isn't it written to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised? Which indicates that circumcision must be performed for the sake of fulfilling God's will. The Gemara answers, that is written with regard to Passover. According to Yossi, the phrase to the Lord is referring to the previous mention of the Paschal offering rather than to circumcision. Accordingly, the verse should be read, we'll keep Passover to the Lord. The Gemara asks, and according to the other sage, Rabbi Yehuda, isn't it also written, he must be circumcised, indicating that circumcision may be performed by anyone? The Gemara answers, the Torah spoke in the language of people. The double verb is the usual style of the Torah, which does not serve to teach a novel halacha. Itmar minayin lamin levagoy shim pesula daru bar papa bishmei derava mar ve'ata et briti tishmor. Rabbi Yochanan himo yimo. The Gemara continues discussing the issue of circumcision performed by Gentiles. It was stated, from where is it derived with regard to circumcision performed by a Gentile that it is not valid? Daru bar Papa says in the name of Ra, this is derived from a verse as it is stated, and God said to Abraham, as for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your seed after you throughout their generations. And Rabbi Yochanan says that it is derived from the verse, he must be circumcised. According to Rabbi Yochanan, this verse teaches that a Jew must be circumcised by one who is already circumcised. What if the non-Jew was circumcised? Then he could, no? According to that. My benayu, awi mahul, v'gavnuni mahul, ikbenayu. Right here, the Gemara says just what I said. The Gemara asks, What is the practical difference between these two opinions? There's a practical difference between them regarding to a circumcised Arab or a circumcised hill person. According to the one who says that the halacha that a Jewish infant may be circumcised only by one who has been circumcised himself, it's derived from the verse, he must be circumcised, himal, there is reason to permit an Arab or a Gamnuni to perform the circumcision, as they are circumcised. And according to the one who says the circumcision may not be performed by a Gentile, is derived from the phrase, you should keep my covenant, there's no reason to permit an Arab or Gibeonite to perform circumcision. Uleman dama hamoim ma'ika v'tnan kunam shi'ani nehedim min ha'arelim mutar be'ared Yisrael v'asavim mulei u'ma'asaylam alma afal gav di mehili ikan tila mehili damu. Gemara raises an objection, and it is so according to the one who says that it is derived from the verse, he must be circumcised, himo, that a Jew may not be circumcised by a Gentile, and there is reason to permit a circumcised Gentile, and there is the reason to permit a circumcised Gentile to perform circumcision. But did we learn in the Mishnah in Nedarim 31b with regard to one who vows deriving benefit from those who are uncircumcised as Kohanim for me, he is permitted to derive benefit from uncircumcised Jews because they are not regarded as uncircumcised, but he is prohibited from deriving benefit from the uncircumcised of the nations of the world. Apparently, even though some Gentiles are circumcised, they are nevertheless considered as those who are uncircumcised. Elaik b'nayu Yisrael shemeitzuach echav machmas mila v'lo leman de'amar de'ata et priti shishmor ika b'man de'amar himol leka. Rather, there is a difference between them with regard to a Jew whose brothers died due to circumcision, and as a result, they did not circumcise him. According to the one who says that the halachas arrive in the verse, as for you, you shall keep my covenant, there is reason to permit such a person to perform circumcision as he is a Jew. According to the one who says that the halakha is derived from the phrase, he must be circumcised, there is no reason to permit this Jew to perform circumcision as he is not circumcised himself. Uliman de'amar himo leka v'tnan konam shani nehenem yimolim aso ba'alei Yisrael mutar b'mulei u'masoilam the Gemara rejects the suggestion as well, and is it so that according to the one who says that the halakha is derived from the verse, he must be circumcised, there is no reason to permit an uncircumcised Jew to perform circumcision? But didn't we learn in the Mishnah in Nedarim 31b? Interesting. This is where the PL 89 comes up. We are on box 31 today, the PL 89, and it references a Mishnah in Nedarim 31b. Okay? With regard to one who vows deriving benefit from those who are circumcised as Kohanim for me, he has prohibited from deriving benefit even from uncircumcised Jews, and he is permitted to derive benefit from the circumcised of the nations of the world. Apparently, even though some Jews are not circumcised, they are nevertheless considered as those who are circumcised. Rather, there is a difference between these two opinions with regard to a woman according to the one who says that the halacha is derived from the verse, and as for you, you shall keep my covenant. There is no reason to permit a woman to perform circumcision, as a woman is not subject to the mitzvah of circumcision. And therefore she is not included in those who must keep God's covenant. And according to the one who says that the halacha is derived from the verse, he must be circumcised. There is reason to permit a woman to perform circumcision, as a woman is considered as one who is naturally circumcised. Okay? Umika, umika, mika, mika, umika. Umika leman yamar ishallah, v'chtiv, v'tikach tzipora tzom, kri bevatakach, v'aketiv v'tichrot, kri bevatichrot, de'amari in shachlini v'avari boyezema, asayai v'aschilai, asamoishe v'agamra. The Gemara raises a difficulty against this explanation. And is there anyone who says that a woman may not perform circumcision? But isn't it written that Tzipporah took a flint and cut off the foreskin of her son? Exodus 4:25. This verse explicitly states that circumcision was performed by a woman. The more answer is that one should read into the verse, and she caused to be taken. But she did not take the flint herself, but isn't it written, and she cut off? Read into the verse, and she caused to be cut off. And she told another person to take a flint and cut off her son's foreskin, and he did so. The Gemara provides an alternative explanation. If you wish to instead, she came and began the act, and Moses came and completed the circumcision. Okay? Okay, new Mishnah. Misrapen mehen ripui mamon, aval lo ripui nefashos. Ve'im mistaprin mehen bechol makom divrei Rabbi Meir. Yechachomim ha'emerim bereshus Rabbi mutar, aval lo beino. The Mishnah discusses the issue of accepting certain professional services from a Gentile. One may be treated by Gentiles provided that it is monetary treatment, but not personal treatment. And one may not have his hair cut by them anywhere due to the danger that the Gentile will kill him with the razor. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir, and the rabbis say, in a public thoroughfare, it is permitted to have one's hair cut by a Gentile, but not when the Jew and the Gentile are alone together. That's the Mishnah, and now it's the Talmud. The Talmud says, "My ripui mamon, my ripui nefashos, ilem ripui mamon, bisachar ripui nefashos bechinam lisnei." The Gemara says, what is monetary treatment and what is personal treatment? If we say that monetary treatment is medical attention provided in exchange for payment, whereas personal treatment is medical attention provided for free, then let the Mishnah teach one may be treated by Gentiles in exchange for payment, but not for free. Ela ripui mamon, davar she'en bo sakana, ripui nefashos, davar she'yesh bo sakana, emar Yehuda afilu rivda dechusilta lo mitasinan minayu. The Gemara suggests another explanation. Rather, monetary treatment is referring to medical treatment for a matter that poses no life-threatening danger, whereas personal treatment is referring to treatment for a matter that does pose life-threatening danger. The Gemara rejects this suggestion as well, but doesn't review to say, even with regard to the wound of a bloodletting incision, we are not permitted to be treated by Gentiles. The left after bloodletting certainly does not pose life-threatening danger, and yet a Jew is prohibited from having it treated by a Gentile. Ella ripui mamon behemto ripui nefashas gufe hainu damar Yehuda filu rivda lechusilta lo mitasina minayu. Rather, monetary treatment is referring to medical treatment provided for one's animal, whereas personal treatment is referring to treatment provided for his own body. And this is in accordance with that which Yehuda says, even with regard to the wound of a bloodletting incision, we are not permitted to be treated by them. Amar Rav Chisda, Amar Rav Marukva, Avalim Amar Lo, Sam Ploni Afelo, Sam Ploni Ralo Muta. Rav Chisda says, that Marukva says, that if a Gentile said to him, such and such a potion is beneficial for this ailment, or such and such a potion is harmful for this ailment, it is permitted to adhere to the Gentile's advice. And now we turn to 27b, Chav Zayin Mud Beis, top of the page. Savar Shayole Mishayalo, Kiechid Mishala, Meshael Leini Shachlina Ve'asahu, Gavra Le'orae Nafshe. The Gemara explains the rationale for this leniency. The Gentile thinks to himself that the Jew is asking him for his opinion, and just as he is asking him, he will also ask other people, and the Gentile further reasons that if the Jew understands that the Gentile provided him with bad advice, that man, meaning the Gentile, will bring harm to himself by damaging his own reputation, it is therefore assumed that the Gentile will provide good advice in order to avoid sullying his reputation. Okay, weiter. We were on the top of 27b. Amar Rava, Amar Rav Yochanan. Amri la, Amar Rav Chisda, Amar Rav Yochanan. Safik chai, Safik meis, ein misrapin mehen, v'adei meis, misrapin mehen. The Gemara analyzes a situation in which one may receive medical attention from Gentiles. Rava says that Rabbi Yochanan says, and some say that it's Rabbi Chisda who says that Rabbi Yochanan says. If there is uncertainty as to whether a patient will live through his ailment or die from it, the patient may not be treated by Gentile doctors due to concern that a Gentile doctor may kill him. But if it is certain that he will die from his affliction, if he does not receive medical attention, the patient is treated by them, as is possible a Gentile physician will save him. I'm not sure how they could tell or not, but that's what they're saying here. Meis the Gemara challenges, even if it is certain that the patient will die if he is not treated. Nevertheless, there is value in temporal life, meaning it is preferable for the Jew to live as long as his ailment permits rather than risking premature death at the hands of a Gentile physician. Okay. The Gemara explains we are not concerned with the value of temporal life when there's a possibility of permanent recovery, and therefore it is preferable to receive medical attention from a Gentile despite the risk involved. The Gemara asks, and from where do you say that we are not concerned with the value of temporal life? How do we know that we don't value temporal life over being healed now if the opportunity is available? As is written with regard to the discussion held by 4 lepers left outside of a besieged city. If we say, we will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here, we also die. Now, therefore, come and let us fall into the host of the Arameans. If they save us alive, we shall live. And if they kill us, we shall die. 2 Kings chapter 7, verse 4, another parallel to today. The Julian calendar is on 7, Kings chapter 7, and today is 7, according to the Julian calendar. The box 7, that is. The starving lepers decided to risk premature death rather than waiting to die of starvation. The Gemara asks rhetorically, but isn't their temporal life be lost? In which case it would be preferable for the lepers to remain in their current location. Rather, is it not apparent that we are not concerned with the value of temporal life? The Gemara raises an objection from a Braita, Lisa, Politin Adam, Im Haminin, Vein Trapin Mehen, Afilu L'Chaisha. We learned in a Braita that says a person may not engage in dealings with heretics, and one may not be treated by them, even in a case where it is clear that without medical attention one will experience only temporal life. מעשה בבן דמה בן אחותו של רבי ישמעאל שהקישו נחש ובא יעקב איש כפר סחניה לרפאותו. Story. Very interesting story. Very interesting story. Okay. ובא יעקב איש כפר סחניה לרפאותו, ולא הניחו רבי ישמעאל, ואמרו לו, רבי ישמעאל אחי, הנח לו וארפא ממנו, ואני אביא מקרא מן התורה שהוא מותר, ולא הספיק לגמור את דבר עד שיצא נשמתו בבית. The writer relates an incident illustrating this point. There was an incident involving Ben Dama, son of Rabbi Ishmael's sister, in which a snake bit him. And following the attack, Yaakov of the village of Sechania, who was a heretic, they call him a heretic, a disciple of Yehoshua the Nazarene, came to treat him, but Rabbi Ishmael did not let him do so. And Ben Dama said to him, Rabbi Ishmael, my brother, let him treat me, and I will be healed by him. And I will cite a verse from the Torah to prove that accepting medical treatment from a heretic is permitted in this situation. But Dama did not manage to complete the statement before his soul departed from his body and he died. קרא עליו רבי ישמעאל, אשריך בן דמה, שגופך טהור, יצאת נשמתך בטהרה, ולא הבלת על דברי חבריך, שהיו אומרים, הוא פורץ גדר, ישכנו נחש. Rabbi Ishmael cited with regard to him, fortunate are you, Ben Dama, as your body is pure, and your soul departed in purity, and you did not transgress the statement of your colleagues, who would state the verse, and who breaks through a fence, a snake shall bite him. Ecclesiastes 10, verse 8. Meaning one is punished for ignoring the ordinance of the sages. This incident indicates that it is not permitted for one to accept medical treatment from a heretic, even if it is clear that without it, he will live only a short while. Gemara explains heresy is different as it is enticing. In other words, it is prohibited to accept medical treatment from a heretic as one might come to be drawn after his heresy. But by contrast, receiving medical attention from a Gentile is permitted if it is certain that one will die if he is not treated. Amamao lo hevalta de שהיו אומרים הוא פורץ גדר ישכנו נחש. איהו נמי חוויה טרקה. חוויה לרברנדלת לאסות. The master said above, you did not transgress the statement of your colleagues, who would state the verse, and who breaks through a fence, a snake shall bite him. The Gemara asks, but Dama was also bitten by a snake even before this declaration of Rabbi Ishmael, so how can he be considered fortunate? The Gemara explains the snake mentioned in the curse of the sages is different, as it has no remedy whatsoever. Although Ben Dama was bitten by a snake, he could have been healed. But he wasn't. Umay havadei lemeimau, v'chayed by him, v'lo she'amud by him. Gemara asks, what would Ben Dama have said? What verse did he intend to cite as proof that it was permitted for him to be healed by a heretic? The verse, you shall therefore keep my statutes and my ordinances, which if man do, he shall live by them. Leviticus 18, verse 5. 18, verse 5. 18, verse 5. This teaches that one should live by God's mitzvot. I debated whether I should, but I'm going to do this anyway. On the Pleiadian calendar, the 19th goes to the 1st, and the 18th goes to the 5th, the Julian. So we have 18 and 5, which is exactly yesterday, 23 to 32. And today we have Leviticus 18:5, which basically means that. So it's interesting as well. That pattern of numbers. Every pattern is meaningful. Doesn't matter where it shows up. This teaches that one should live by God's mitzvot, and not that he should die by them. This verse serves as a source for the halakha that one may violate a prohibition in order to save a life. Rabbi Ishmael, ha'nimin v'tzino, aber b'farhezilo, Titania hay Rabbi Ishmael Binayin shim omrim lo le'adam avodah Zarah ve'al taharag she'avod ve'al taharag samaloma v'chay b'hem ve'lo she'yamut b'hem yachol afilu b'farhezilo samaloma ve'lo techalelu et shem kodeshi. And why does Rabbi Ishmael disagree with Ben Dama? He maintains that this matter applies only in private, but in public one may not transgress a prohibition even to save a life. As it is taught in a Braita that Rabbi Ishmael would say, from where is it derived that if oppressors say to a person, worship an idol and you will not be killed, that one should worship the idol and not be killed? The verse states that he shall live by them, and not that he should die by them. One might have thought that this applies even in public. Therefore the verse states, and you shall not profane my holy name. Yeah, you should not profane my holy name. Leviticus 22, 32, again 32 comes up. Amar Rabba bar bar Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan Kol ma kash mechalin alea et Shabbat im etrabim bahem Ikad yamri Amar Rabba bar bar Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan Kol. The Gemara examines various circumstances in which one is permitted to receive treatment from a Gentile. Rabba bar Chana says, that Rabbi Yochanan says, with regard to any injury for which Shabbat is desecrated, one may not be treated by a Gentile. And there are those who say that Rabba bar Chana says, that Rabbi Yochanan says, with regard to any